When I was younger, I used to hate turn-based games. I thought the idea of going back and forth with an enemy was just such a boring concept. But now, it's one of my favorite styles of games. So, what happened? This happened. This is XCOM Enemy Unknown. This is a physical PC copy of the game. There's a disc in here. You used to have to go buy games. Can you believe that? I couldn't tell you what caused 14-year-old me to be drawn to this game. It's probably the guns, but I bought it for like 10 bucks. So here it is. So I got home, I popped the disc in, I installed it, and I played XCOM for the very first time. I tell you all this because this is the turn-based tactics game. Seriously, search turn-based tactics on Steam and what you'll find is a series of XCOM clones. A 3D grid with cover and statistics to determine a hit chance against an enemy or towards you. That's about 90% of turn-based tactics games these days. But not the one we're talking about today. Today we're talking about Steamworld Heist 2. It's a turn-based tactics game, but in a crazy twist, it's not an XCOM clone. If you've been playing indie games for any amount of time, you've likely at least heard the name Steamworld. It's a universe of games spanning across many different titles and genres. While they all share the same Steamworld prefix, the games themselves are all unique from one another. What we're talking about today is the second in the Heist series. In the Steamworld world, you play as Steam bots, and the other bots, like the Diesel bots and the Bone bots, are the bad bots. The premise with Heist 2 is that fresh water is becoming scarce, threatening the livelihood of the Steam bots. The Gas Guzzlers and Bone Boys see this as an opportunity to oppress the Steam society, and it falls upon Quincy Leeway and his ragtag crew to put a stop to this water crisis and the evil regimes brewing within, all while trying to live up to his pirate mother's name. This all plays out in a series of levels connected by a submarine-driven overworld. You drive up to a location, put your team together, and start blasting. Now, replace those evil diesel bots with aliens, and it kinda sounds like XCOM, right? Yeah, kinda. The difference is in the gameplay, which is why I'm hiding behind this barrel right now. This barrel isn't giving the enemy a penalty to their hit chance against me, it's actually physically protecting me. Or at least it was. Heist 2 takes place on a two-dimensional plane. You can go left, right, up, and down. When you want to attack an enemy, you ready your weapon, and you physically move your aim in order to try and hit your target. If an object gets between the target and your shot, well, sucks to be you. But that doesn't mean that you're immune behind cover. Some members of your team are taller than others, and if they're too tall, like Cornelius here, that barrel might not work as well. On the flip side, a smaller character, like Poe, can get a lot of use out of scroungy cover with her smaller profile. So you can shoot over and under cover, but how about around cover? Depending on the type of weapon you're using, there may be an opportunity to ricochet your shots around the room. There may be a small enemy behind a large block of cover, but the wall behind him can help you there. Better yet, why not get some collaterals in and make your shots even more efficient? These are the basics of the gameplay. It's part shooty-shooty, part puzzle, all tactics. Everything else in Heist 2 builds upon these fundamentals, and it makes the game that much more engaging. In the first Heist game, this was the main draw, these baseline mechanics that made the game play the way it does. Heist 2 builds upon these fundamentals and takes it to great new heights with some smart additions. For starters, loot makes a massive impact on what strategies you have available. Each weapon family has a class tied to it. If you have a pistol, you're an engineer. If you have a long rifle, you're a sharpshooter. This means that you can make any character any class, opening up a lot of possibilities. For the moment though, let's focus on the loot itself. While it may seem limiting to restrict certain classes to certain weapons, each weapon family has much more variety than it first seems. Boomers use rocket launchers, fair enough, but they also have cannonball launchers. Those cannonballs are heavier and don't launch as far as rockets, but they also have an insane blast radius. On the flip side, a railgun will have a great sense of range, but have a smaller blast radius and deal less damage in said radius. Swap your Reaper's submachine gun with a crossbow, giving you more damage but removing your ricochet capabilities. Use a banjo instead of a sniper rifle, and now your shots will fire at an arc and bounce around a million times. Sure, these weapons are all filling similar roles, but the way they fit into the rules of the game change the way you play with each class drastically. There's plenty of different equipment to try out, and each one opens up new ways to approach objectives. Each class does fill a certain role, but skills from classes can be combined with any number of different classes a character has levels in. Cogs are used as skill points, letting your crew take more skills from more classes. This gives you a reason to try out different crew members with different classes, and each crew member has their own unique perks to upgrade as well. It's a lot of things to mix and match, but nothing is ever too overwhelming or too complicated. There's a lot of really great perks and equipment to try out, and I had a lot of fun combining them to make some really powerful crew members. So that's the game. You cruise around in the submarine going from level to level, trying to beat them as efficiently as possible and collect as much loot as possible. This is all combined with a set of easy to understand controls, which makes this a great title for just about anyone. Like the other Steamworld games, Heist 2 has a slew of difficulty options, so if this isn't a type of game you often play or just want a more relaxed experience, that's totally here. The fluid controls both on keyboard and controller make it a great time all around. Whether you're relaxing on the couch with a controller, sat at a desk with a keyboard and mouse, or lounging on the porcelain throne with the Steam Deck, Steamworld Heist 2 is just a joy to play. I actually do think that this title is best played on a controller. Not that the keyboard and mouse controls are better, it's just that the controller doesn't offer the same targeting precision as the mouse does. The game is slightly easier on the keyboard setup since you're able to more accurately pinpoint where your shot goes. On the controller, you have to simply angle your weapon for a shot, which, while being more difficult, I think adds a layer of skill and uncertainty to your shots, which can lead to a more rewarding and unpredictable experience. But I would be doing the game an injustice if I didn't talk about the soundtrack, so... Where am I?
Did you say soundtrack?
Oh, YouTube! Hey, how's it going? I was just gonna show off how great the soundtrack is.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. I guess I'll have to demonetize your video.
Whoa, I haven't even played it yet.
Well, you were going to.
Yeah, but it's in the game though. Does everybody who makes a video about this game, do they get demonetized as well?
Of course, that's how it goes.
I gotcha. But if I don't play the music, you won't demonetize me, right?
Correct.
Okay, let me ask you this. What's been playing in the background?
I don't know. We've been talking over it.
That was weird. The music in the bars is played by steam-powered Giraffe, and at first I was like, here we go, another in-game cameo. But no, it's actually really good. They did a really good job with the music, so check that out if you have time. And that's all there is to Steamworld Heist 2. It's a fun little turn-based tactics game that isn't too punishing and has a bright and colorful art style. There's a lot of really great gear and bonus objectives that keep things fresh throughout its runtime, which is really saying something because this game is pretty lengthy. It's a fantastic time, even if you're not into turn-based tactics games. It's also not an XCOM clone, which is a welcome change for the genre. Now, if you don't mind, I have some diesel bots to go scrap.